Hello everyone, I hope you're well and welcome to my channel where you can watch my AI stocks, cryptocurrency, wealth building investment strategies and how I use these to beat inflation. Today I'm going to be doing a portfolio overview. I think YouTube is a great way to keep track of what I'm doing with my AI stocks over time and what I plan to do in the future. Since the correction in April, the stock and cryptocurrency market grown to all-time highs. I believe 2025 would be a good year, and I have been proven correct. With the S&P 500 index rising into all-time highs, it makes me worry. Why? Because the dollar continues to drop. Normally we tend to get a bull market with a rising dollar. This is what happened in 2024, which was a great time to invest in AI stocks, giving me huge profits. The dollar should recover and start to rise as investors sell into dollars, though how successful this will be under the uncertainty of the Trump chaos and the US debt refinancing remains to be seen. I do believe we are technically still in a bull market and the risks are to the upside until the end of October 2025. How high? In my June update I thought 6,400 was achievable by September if we saw 6,000. I was proven correct. Now I expect a big drop during October as the economy by then is expected to contract during the fourth quarter and the stock market discounts the future. It is essential to keep maintaining some exposure to AI stocks despite all the fear from finance media companies. This is why I do not read or watch any financial media press or TV channels, as they always advise the incorrect strategy for the financial markets. Their primary focus is to sell fear and panic so to maximize their own exposure and profits. Another reason why you need to have focus when building wealth, otherwise you'll get distracted by this talk and sell your positions before the big moves happen. I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. This is purely what I intend to do. I fear rising stock prices, but I'm brave with falling stock prices. To be on the right side of market dynamics, I trim when the stock price is going up and buy when the stock price is going down, as the advantage is with me. It is important that I remember that investing involves three important elements: ensuring you have a list of great AI stocks, exposure to these stocks so that I can trim when they become expensive, have cash ready to enable me to buy when the market panics. Therefore, during this uncertain time, it is essential that I have enough cash ready for the market panics, whilst also retaining enough exposure to take advantage of market rises. This table shows my buy target for each AI stock, what my current average purchase price has been for the stock, and what my current exposure is of the asset. Before I intend to make any asset purchase, I determine firstly how much risk or exposure I wish to have. This aids my unique take on dollar cost averaging by having an investment price target for each stock I wish to accumulate into. To learn more about this, watch my video Wealth Building Dollar Cost Averaging. As you can see, my average gain has been 57%, with some AI stocks such as IBM having gains of over 120%. You don't get that kind of return with index tracking funds. It's a balancing act between having exposure and overpaying for an AI stock. The easiest thing to do would be just to invest and forget. I can't do that for stocks such as AMD or Micron. It's too volatile not to try and capitalize on this, which is why I buy in and out of AMD depending on what the stock price does, whilst building a core position, as I believe regardless of what stock prices do, the AI megatrend is going to run for decades. Next, I'll give a brief comment on why I have and continue to invest in these AI stocks. Within my investment portfolio, I have 65% left in cash ready for any investment opportunities. Applied Materials is a leading supplier of equipment, services and software using the manufacturing of semiconductors, displays and related technologies. After purchasing the stock throughout 2024 for an average price of $158, I've been recently selling as the stock goes higher towards $200 and $220. I still have some exposure left and will look to sell more if it goes higher. Applied Materials earnings are starting to slow down. Thus, I believe the stock price will drop to my buy target range of $145. AMD is a semiconductor company that designs, develops processors and graphics technologies, operating in areas such as data centers, desktop computers, and gaming. During April, AMD dropped briefly below my buy target of $88, and I used my unique take on dollar cost averaging to build a bigger position, which took my exposure to 170%. Then it has rallied to over $220, in which I've been reducing my exposure to the stock for huge profits. AMD's earnings haven't been as great as the AI stocks. However, I did say this would change as we progress throughout 2025. I also thought that stock might FOMO above $200, which it has done. I do believe it will drop back towards my buy target of $132, which I'll start to increase my exposure again. Amazon is a technology and retail company that operates across the world. Its core business is e-commerce, but it's also a leading cloud compute business that offers infrastructure, storage, AI, and other services to businesses. I've been purchasing this AI stock as it dropped towards $160 and waiting for it to rise above $240 before selling. Amazon earnings are growing at a much faster rate than other AI stocks. Thus, I believe this stock is still cheap when compared to others, even though the stock price does not show it yet. Apple is a major technology company that designs, manufactures, and sells consumer electronics such as smartphones, tablets, PCs, wearables, software, and services around the world. Apple is a tough stock to buy into over the past few years, and I've managed to build my exposure to 19% for an average purchase price of $190. Apple's earnings are slowing, and its development of Apple Intelligent has not been good enough to drive the stock price higher, though I have hit my sell target of $250 during this bull market. ASML is a Dutch company that designs, builds photolithography machines which are used in making semiconductor chips. It's the only company in the world that manufactures extreme ultraviolet lithography tools which are essential for making the most advanced chips. After increasing my exposure during the market drop in April, I've been waiting patiently for the stock price to go above $850 before I started trimming. Eventually it reached over $1,000, which I was able to sell at. With my previous market updates, I expected ASML to have great earnings, which it has done. This has helped the stock recover above $1,000, and it looks on course to keep these gains during 2025. Broadcom is a technology company specializing in semiconductors and infrastructure software. It develops chips and components used in data centers, networking, storage, wireless communications, broadband, and industrial systems. I've been purchasing the stock for an average price of $167 and trimming my exposure as the stock surged towards $300. Broadcom's earnings are slowing, and I expect this to show in the stock price, where I believe it will start to fall towards my buy target of $215. Google is a major AI company that has core operations in web search, advertising, YouTube, Android, and Chrome, to name a few. Their cloud compute offers infrastructure, data analytics, AI, cybersecurity, and productivity tools like Workspace. A few months ago, I said that Google was on course to trade above $200, which it has done, and more, surging above $250. Thus, I've been trimming the stock and reducing my exposure. Google had great earnings beat in Q1, which has made the stock price look even cheaper, especially against the other AI stocks. Though its earnings growth is slowing, thus I believe the stock price will drop towards $180. IBM is a long-standing technology company operating across several business areas, including software, consulting, infrastructure, and financing. I believe its development in quantum computing will help the future growth of the stock price. IBM's earnings are slowing, which I believe will give me an opportunity to increase my exposure when the stock price drops towards $226. KLA is a leading company in the semiconductor equipment space. It designs, manufactures, and sells advanced processing control, yield management, inspection, and metrology systems used in semiconductor fabrication, packaging, and related electronic manufacturing. After purchasing the stock for an average price of $630, I've completely sold out at $1,000, as I believe the stock is overvalued and will look to buy back in starting around $750. Its earnings are slowing, which should result in its stock price dropping. Lam Research Corporation is a company that designs, manufactures and services semiconductor fabrication equipment, particularly for processing like deposition, etch and cleaning. After purchasing the stock for an average price of $81, I've been selling at $142 during this bull market. They had great earnings in quarter 4, but I believe these are slowing down, and thus the stock price will drop towards $80. Meta is a major AI company that owns several social and messaging platforms. With its primary revenue in advertising, it also invests in virtual reality, AI and the metaverse. During the rally, I've been trimming down my exposure to 30%. I will look to trim more when the stock rises above $800. Since November 2022, Meta has had excellent earnings growth. It consistently tends to beat earnings estimates, as Meta, like Nvidia, is AI. This will aid its share price to rise above $800 over the next month. Microsoft is a leading technology company known for its software cloud services, devices and enterprise solutions. Microsoft has successfully pivoted in recent years from being a PC OS centric to a major player in the cloud computing and AI infrastructure. During April, I took advantage of accumulating into Microsoft during the drop below $400, increasing my exposure to this steady-as-you-go stock. I expected it to rebound above $450, which it did, trading above $500. Thus, I've been trimming down my exposure to 9% and will look to trim more as it rises above $550. Microsoft earnings growth has been steady, and I believe this won't change for the future. Its cloud computing is bringing in strong revenue and earnings growth, which will help its share price to rise above $550. Micron is a semiconductor company that designs, manufactures and sells memory and storage products. Recently, demand for memory and AI infrastructure, data center applications have been a strong growth driver, boosting Micron's outlook. Micron stock is volatile, which is demonstrated when it dropped to $65 during the April correction. Volatility like this I look to capitalize on. I said during my June update that I expected the stock price to rise above $110. Since then it surged towards $190, which I've completely sold out of. Micron's earnings have been affected by the AI chip demand. Therefore the stock price has moved higher, far too high. Thus I believe the stock will drop to $95, at which I'll start rebuilding a position. Nvidia is a leading AI company specializing in high-performance graphics processing units and AI computing platforms. Nvidia has become a central player in the AI revolution, providing the hardware and software infrastructure that powers modern AI models, data centers, and supercomputing environments. My investment in Nvidia went from 80% back in January to 140% during April. I took full advantage to purchase this great AI stock at deep discounts from its all-time high. This is what investors need to take on board. Be positioned for either rising or falling prices. As I mentioned in my summer updates, I expected Nvidia to reach 200 plus by the end of 2025, which it is almost there. Nvidia has been experiencing fantastic earnings growth since 2023, with its future earnings growth look great as well. However, I believe this will eventually see the side effects of Trump's tariffs, probably during the end of 2025 or early 2026, where the stock price could drop to $140. Qualcomm is a leading semiconductor and telecommunications equipment company renowned for its innovations in wireless communication technologies. Qualcomm aims to position itself at the forefront of AI and robotics. I've been buying back into Qualcomm stock during the April correction as the stock dropped towards my buy target of $152. This stock is beginning to look cheap again against the other AI stocks. However, it seems to be struggling to recover, unlike the other AI stocks. I believe this will start to change over the next few weeks, and I'll look to trim as it rebounds towards $170. The earnings growth has slowed down, which is causing its share price to stagnate, though I believe it will start to rise in the coming weeks towards $170 as FOMO starts to hit the stock as well. Tesla is a leading electric vehicle and clean energy company, as it's become a dominant force in the EV market, offering a range of vehicles. Beyond automobiles, Tesla is involved in energy storage solutions, solar products, autonomous driving technologies, and AI robots. Since the beginning of the year, Tesla has suffered an expected spectacular collapse of its 488 high trading down to near $200. I was only surprised that it did not fall below $200 given its overvaluation. The valuations are still very high, especially when compared to the other AI stocks. It is with this view that I've decided to sell all my remaining shares and will begin to repurchase them when the stock price drops more. My long-term view is still that I expect Tesla stock over the next 10 years to increase to at least $1,000. Tesla is a high-risk AI stock which can be volatile. This timed correctly can give opportunities to build a bigger position. The Q1 earnings report was terrible. This was already showing in its price to earnings has been overvalued. Thus a lot of the growth was already within the price and the market discounts the future. Tesla is ready for a drop regardless of what the future earnings will say. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is the world's largest dedicated semiconductor foundry specializing in advanced chip manufacturing for fabless companies like Apple, Nvidia, AMD and Qualcomm. It has pioneered the pure-play foundry model and has become a critical player in global electronic supply chain where it cannot produce enough high-end chips to meet demand. During April, the stock did drop below my buy target, which I could not resist but to purchase more to increase my exposure to 64%. During my summer update, I said the downside looked limited and I believed the stock would rise towards $200 after an earnings beat, which it did, allowing me to trim. I have since then trimmed some more at $280 and allowed myself to reduce the exposure to 4%. AI company chip demand is still strong and accelerating, so exposure to semiconductor companies like this is key to my investment strategy. This company has had excellent revenue and earnings, which are growing at the rate of 20% per year, which should last the next 5 years. In my May update, I believed that we'll get another Bitcoin high during May, which we did as Bitcoin surged to over $110,000, which I've trimmed my exposure to. As I believe cryptocurrency is nothing more than a gamble, thus I'll take any opportunity to reduce my exposure. This has enabled me to be more focused as I've banked some of the profits, and if Bitcoin moves towards $150,000 or $200,000, I still have some Bitcoin that I bought back at the end of 2023 for an average price of $37,000. With the Bitcoin bull market coming into its final year, I'm already preparing myself for the next cryptocurrency bear market. This strategy is still in progress, but I plan to begin small purchases at 40% below the all-time high, accumulating more as it drops as the bear market is likely to last a year. At this moment, I'm not 100% sure if Bitcoin will drop 80% of its high due to ETF Bitcoin funds. It is more likely to drop by a maximum amount of 50%. And lastly, do not forget we're still in a bull market, which means when AI stocks fall, it's time to get greedy, not fearful. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more tips on how I use AI stocks and cryptocurrency to build my wealth and beat inflation. Until next time, take care.